We think of survival gear as things we carry: knives, filters, fire starters. But the most important piece of survival gear you will ever own is the one you live inside. Modern survival relies on active systems. You need electricity to run the well pump. You need gas to heat the furnace. You need filters to clean the air. If the grid fails, your house becomes a coffin in 48 hours. Now look at a medieval peasant's cottage. No electricity, no running water, no grid. Yet it kept people alive through the Little Ice Age, plagues, and wars. Why? Because they didn't build houses. They built passive survival machines. Here is the lost engineering of the ultimate shelter. In a long-term survival scenario, your enemy is not zombies. It is hydrostatic pressure. Modern houses fight water with technology, sump pumps, and plastic barriers. When the power dies, the pump stops, the basement floods, the mold starts. Medieval builders used gravity engineering. Before laying a stone, they dug massive trenches lined with clay and filled with gravel. The original French drain, centuries before the French named it. This system requires 0 calories and 0 watts. It uses gravity to move water away from your shelter forever. It is a drainage system that cannot fail because gravity never turns off. We build with Portland cement because it is hard, but hard means brittle. When the ground shakes or the temperature swings, modern concrete snaps. Medieval masons used lime mortar. It is softer than the stone. It acts as a shock absorber for the building. Lime mortar is self-healing. It slowly reabsorbs carbon dioxide from the air. If a crack forms, the next time it rains, the water dissolves free lime and reseals the crack. Your modern concrete wall is dead rock. Their wall is a living membrane that repairs its own wounds. That is the difference between a shelter you have to fix and a shelter that fixes itself. Modern insulation stops heat transfer. That is great until the fuel runs out. Once the furnace stops, a modern house freezes instantly. Medieval builders used thermal mass. Walls made of cob, earth and straw, or stone were 2 feet thick. They don't just stop heat, they store it. The survival advantage: the wall acts as a massive thermal battery. It absorbs solar heat for 12 hours during the day. When the sun sets and temperatures drop, that heat finally reaches the interior, radiating warmth all night. A modern house is dependent on fuel supply. A medieval house is powered by the rotation of the earth. We think chimneys were an upgrade. They were actually a survival downgrade. In a medieval hall, the fire was in the center. Smoke rose up and filtered through the thatched roof. This wasn't primitive, it was chemical engineering. First, the smoke killed the beetles and larvae that eat straw. Second, it coated the straw in creosote, sealing it against rain. Third, it hardened the roof, raising its ignition temperature against fire. When we added chimneys, we funneled the preservative outside. Roofs started to rot. We cleaned the air, but we killed the architecture. In a grid-down scenario, a smoke-cured roof lasts 50 years. A modern asphalt roof lasts 20. The ultimate survival gear is not the thing that never breaks. It is the thing you can fix. If your modern vinyl siding cracks, you need a factory in China to ship you a replacement. If a medieval wattle and daub wall cracks, you walk outside, dig up some mud, and fix it with your hands. We have traded resilience for convenience. A modern house is a machine that requires a global supply chain to function. A medieval house was a fortress built from the ground it stood on. If you are serious about preparedness, stop looking at high-tech bunkers. Look at the mud. Subscribe to Atten Recounts. We don't just study history, we reverse engineer it.